First, wild card, Matt Santos.
So the theme today was through a new lens, right? So I'm going to tell you an actual story about a new lens. Many years ago, my wife and I, about 25 years ago, we were planning a trip out of country. It was a big trip. And I wanted to buy a new lens. So I did. I ordered one. It was pretty expensive, about $1,500. And it was getting delivered to the house. And at the time, I was living in an area that wasn't what you would call the safest neighborhood in the area. It was a suburb, small suburb, about 150,000 people outside of Oakland, California. And that lens needed to be delivered. I forgot to start my timer. That lens needed to be delivered and signed for by the delivery company. And I came home from work one day. There was this box sitting on the sidewalk outside of my driveway. And I pick it up, and it's from the camera store in New York. No signature, and nobody stole it. I was amazed. So I go inside. The next morning, I call the delivery company that drives a big brown truck. And I said, hey, I'm just curious. Here's my tracking number. Who signed for my package? And they put me on hold. Came back a couple minutes later and said, well, our driver left it. But he left it in a safe place, but nobody signed for it. So we've started the claim for you. I said, okay. And they said, we want you to contact the seller in New York and let them know that we've started a claim. So I said, okay. Then I went on my trip with my brand new $1,500 lens. And I came back from my trip. And I got a phone call from UPS, and they says, we've investigated your claim, and the driver said he left it there, and we've actually interviewed some of your neighbors, and nobody saw anybody taking it. So we need to know why you started this claim. I said, I never started a claim. I made a phone call asking who signed for my lens. Then I get a call from the seller in New York, and they said, well, they filed this claim. We can't find it, so we've refunded your money, and we'll get our take from the shipper. I said, okay. And I enjoyed my $1,500 lens. And then a couple weeks go by after that, and I get a call from their fraud department. And they said, you realize we can press charges for filing a faulty claim on your new lens. And I says, can you send me the transcript of the call where I filed the claim? He goes, we're going to do that. And he hung up the phone, called me back a couple weeks later. Everything is 2 weeks with that company. They called me back and they says, well, we can't really find where you filed a claim. But we're going to continue our investigation. And if we find out anything was done on your part to falsify a claim, we'll be in touch. Well, that was 25 years ago. They haven't called me back on that yet. I guess the reason I'm telling you this story is because I try and be an honest person. So you could either feel much better about yourselves because you're way more honest than me, or I've just explained to you how to get stuff for free from UPS.
Okay, now I don't suggest actually that anybody follow those rules.